everything. Anything that's in my life is ammo. Everything that's in my life is inspiration. Everything in my life is why. Everything that transpires throughout this journey is to feed me. Nothing is to take away from me. So even the plights and the fall offs and the betrayals and the deceit alchemize everything. Peace. I hope all is well, all is abundant, all is beautiful, all that good stuff. I had came to an epiphany that I have unknowingly been alchemizing everything in my life without even realizing that that's what I'm doing. And now with this awareness, I can do it more intentionally. And the importance of doing it intentionally is that everything that transpires in my life, everything, the downsides, the upsides, the betrayals and deceit, and the people I thought were my friends, and the people I thought would never steal from me, or the people I thought, all of those things, oh my goodness, thank you. You just turned me up. What? Because this emotion that you've gifted me, now I have to utilize this emotion and alchemize and transmute it into something that's going to benefit me. Alchemize absolutely everything. Everything that's been placed in our lives, every circumstance, situation, interaction, every yes, every no, all of these happenings are meant to be transmuted and alchemized for us to contribute to ourselves and the collective, truly. Every moment is meant to produce something out of you. Like, ouch, betrayed me, that hurt really bad. Am I going to sit in this betrayal, or am I going to go the opposite way and allow this betrayal to shape me as a person? Or am I going to transmute and alchemize this betrayal to where it is benefiting me? It is feeding me. Actually, in about, as soon as I get over it, I'm actually going to be thankful that this happened, because had this not happened, I would have never made that painting. I would have never gotten my butt in the gym. I would have never produced this book. I would have never went out of my way to keep my heart open and then met this person. These things would have never happened had you never betrayed me. So actually, thank you. I needed that. And emotions and everything can be so heavy sometimes, and things hurt so bad. And when they hurt so bad, that's when you really need to dig in your Duffy and pull out these tools. Pull them out like, oh, okay. Oh, they said no. Instead of thinking you're a loser, actually take that experience. Sorry, my camera died, so we're back. That's why later in life, after the dust is settled and the war is over, we normally thank the things that pushed us to become different people. Okay, so yesterday I had gotten some DoorDash, right? And he ran off with my food. And I was so hungry. And I was so blowed. I was like, yeah, I'm finna just stretch. And I had the best stretch I've had. It was like a deep stretch because I was so mad. It was like a really good deep stretch. And though I was hungry in that moment, like I knew I'm always taken care of. So the money, I'm not tripping. But I got the best stretch I've gotten all week because I've been sort of sick. So I've gotten the best stretch that I've gotten all week. I can't be mad no more. Like, I genuinely can't. Like, I pushed it out of me. But yeah, like in reference to alchemy, we all alchemize without even knowing that we alchemize. And that's really where I got here. It's interesting. I'm going to dive a bit deeper into this idea of alchemization. I feel like to alchemize your emotions and your feelings, there's a luxury of time that some people have, some people don't. When you have more time, there's no excuse not to alchemize your emotions. When you have less time, there's a bit of excuse, but there's always a way. And only you know what your way is. Everybody knows what's good for them. We just choose not to do it. Or we choose to be afraid of the person that we could potentially be by acting in that way. And we're just afraid of change. This idea of changing ourselves so much so. What if we lose friends? What if our shows don't pop anymore? What if we lose the sense of self that we've built from all of these different bricks from all over? And really, the sense of self is just self itself. There's nothing outside of self. Like, I'm Alexis, right? But that's who I am right now. Like, I'm here in this body and I'm vibing, but that's not all I am. That's not, I'm taught to believe that I'm particular things. And that's where I go in and I rewrite the stories that I want to hear, because I like to believe I'm other things. And this all stems from this idea of alchemy. Alchemy. And truthfully, if we all alchemized our emotions in ways that were a bit more healthy, 9 times out of 10, arguments wouldn't even happen like that. Like, oh, you had me messed up. I went and pumped some iron, and then by the time I talked to you, I was fine. Like, I'm not even mad anymore. I'm good. It's alchemy. I pushed it from my person. My person has experienced this emotion fully, and that's the thing. A lot of times we run from experiencing our emotions fully, and if we don't experience them fully, then they'll experience us fully, and they'll start to take over. Now they got the wheel. And in reference to taking care of yourself, like, you have to take care of yourself. I was talking to a friend of mine who was telling me how his why mattered more than self. His why mattered more than anything. And I think that's beautiful. To have something you believe in so heavily that it pushes itself above everything else you believe in, everything. Your why is your driving force, right? The only thing about that perspective is that without you, the why doesn't get to see itself through. For example, if let's say Sam is having a baby, right? She's having a baby. Her husband is Clyde. So Clyde is driving super fast. She's having this baby now. You know what I'm saying? He's driving super fast. And his why is to make sure that she gets taken care of, the baby gets taken care of, and so on. However, he crashes. And nobody makes it nowhere. So at what point is the why higher than self? The why drives self, yes. But you also have to place value on yourself to be able to produce, execute, and cultivate this why. And that's where alchemy is crucial. If you don't alchemize your emotions, they'll build up inside of you to where now your back is hunched. Now you can't even touch your toes anymore. Now this body that was once so able and so free is now restricted. The body keeps score. We talk about this book all the time because it's so real. It really does. And again, we do navigate in ways where you could probably think of some ways that you naturally alchemize your emotions. Some people resort to drinking. Some people resort to smoking. Some people resort to yoga. Some people resort to a workout. Some people resort to art, and so on. But to be intentional with that is to know that you're alchemizing. Like, I'm an alchemist. Everything that transpires in my life works for me. The good, the bad, the ugly, it all works for me because of how I receive it and what I do then with it after I've received it. I used to be so emotionally paralyzed. Like, I used to get sad and just bed rot, and I wasn't alchemizing nothing. But in my own way, I thought that I was. I'm like, oh, I'm just sleeping it off. Like, no, I'm not really alchemizing it like that. I need to get this emotion out of me, whether I'm crying, creating, working out, whatever. There's a way to move this around to where it's not just on my heart. And now when I get mad, I just start doing push-ups, or I'll just work out, because nobody deserves the ends of my crash outs. And nobody deserves to experience me that vulnerable in that way unless that's a choice that I made. And I don't plan on having any choices that I make in that way either. So I'd rather just give it to myself versus anything else. I challenge you to think of a couple of ways that you naturally alchemize in your life, and a couple of ways that you can intentionally alchemize in your life. Because, just doing it is beautiful. But, just running a race with no end goal, no aim, you could potentially lose on accident just because you weren't aware and you were winning the whole time. Or you can move intentionally and be aware so you know exactly where you're going. You know exactly where the finish line is. And that's a challenge for not only I'm sending you, but I'm sending myself too, because the importance of alchemizing everything allows this book, this painting, this story to then be of my own creation versus allowing anyone else to have the driver's seat. Because I choose how I respond. I choose how I receive things. I choose how upset do I really want to be here. Those are choices sometimes. Sometimes they're not, but sometimes they are. And that's where it really matters. And I've been practicing being slow to respond because that's where the true alchemy lies. Go ahead and like go run that off and then respond to that text message. Actually, you should meditate and then respond to that call. Right now isn't a good time. You know, speaking of alchemy, it's so funny. I literally was upset about something with a clothing vendor, so I started painting clothes. And that's that that workspace you see behind me. But I started painting clothes, and now I'm gonna start selling my painted clothes. Had that never happened, I would never, I probably would have done it, but delayed, So